Your elbow is gonna be just inside the kneecap on that muscle. You're gonna try to keep your posture up, control down with nothing moving in your body, and rotate up. Your torso, you want at about a 45-degree angle to this thigh. So you see, if I turn about right here and look at the camera, this would be the form. The standard is 12 reps with 10% of body weight. To be clear, this is not wrong, like trying to face the leg. It's harder. Notice the stretch, you're gonna hit a limit on the stretch. If you turn all the way, it's easier. So if I go all the way out here, this is even easier. Notice I could hang out here forever. Stretch is easier. Both are great. If you want to get really, really detailed, you could start here. When you hit failure, gradually turn. Let's show that. So if you went here till you're at failure, you could then keep doing reps there. Then you could turn. But you can see that having that torso at about 45 degrees is then just gonna give you a balance. So here, I've got a balance. I've got some stretch there. So I've got the stretch. I've got good load. So that's why for the standard, I want it 45-degree angle. That's where I do my reps. I prefer it there. I think this can get feel a little bit strange. And I think turning all the way, I'm then not getting that stretch at the bottom. And I think it's a little bit too easy to cheat. Notice the momentum out of the bottom. So here, there's no load yet. There's where the load is gonna be. So this gives you momentum that can carry through. So being at about this 45-degree angle, so I've got some stretch. So I've got a nice balance of stretch and strength. Another little thing to look out for is moving that leg. That will make it easier, letting the leg, boom, go there to get it up. So if you're watching that knee, you're trying to rotate it without that knee going out. So I think we've demoed this fairly well, but let's go into the why and the context. With this, we're training muscles that attach the shoulder into the socket. So every ounce we get stronger there, I've seen the most correlation to not having shoulder pain. This handled my chronic shoulder pain. This has been my #1 go-to foundation for making people with more bulletproof and capable shoulders than the norm. There is fuller context. You want muscles around to be strong. Last thing I'll say on this is, if you think about throwing is the most injurious shoulder activity. Like, it causes the most shoulder surgeries. So what are we doing here? We're being strong in exact opposite of throwing. So if I was in a throwing sport, I would want to absolutely guarantee that I was stronger at this than any of my competitors. Some more details. You can do this sitting on a bench, foot up on the bench, turn that torso to about that 45-degree angle. You can keep your posture up. So maybe if you're in a gym, it might look weird sitting down to do this. I think for me, I think this makes it somehow slightly harder, like sitting down. And I don't know, there's something nice to me about just like doing more sitting as we did when we were kids, like sitting on the ground. I think a lot about that when it comes to different hip mobility stuff, which tomorrow I'll cover this outside area I happen to be planning. But there's more context. That's not the only thing that's the opposite of throwing. If we look now at two of the other ATG shoulder standards, these form our 3 basic shoulder ability standards. You'll see this is another aspect that's opposite of throwing. 10 reps here is the standard. A standard is something that 90% of people that I've trained cannot do. For me, I get my most results year to year when I just work on these 20 standards and try to sharpen them. It's almost like going back to the basics. And then, hey, Lucky boy, Lucky, come on, make an appearance. Lucky, Lucky boy, Lucky boy. People have been asking in the videos, where's Lucky? Well, it's kind of hot out. He's a lazy boy, but he comes out every now and then for a little nappy out here. Point is that a standard 9 out of 10 people can't do. 1 in 10 probably could do. You start to add these up, and now you're creating a body that's really like in the 1% in terms of injury protection and athleticism. And no, it's not a perfect system. It's just based on observing hundreds of clients in person, although probably getting closer to about 1,000 that I've worked with in person on this, and thousands online, and just observing these qualities. So you have that Powell raise that I was just showing you, trying to keep that elbow locked, 10 reps. It feels like a little bit harder for people than the rotator. And then even harder than that would be Trap-3 raise, where you're almost in like a Y shape. Again, trying to keep the elbow locked. You can do this sitting. Very tough. I think about 8 reps there from what I've seen. And if you look at the middle of my back, it's actually, I hope this helps someone out there to think with how I think about the back. So when I think about the back, I think about the rotators that we just did as training muscles that attach the shoulder in. Then that Powell raise, training a little bit further out, rear shoulder and scapular retractors, muscles between the shoulder blade. So we got rotators, like deep in behind the shoulder, Powell raise, scapular retractors and rear delt. Then Trap-3 raise. Your trap muscles go all the way down. They have a third row just above your lower back. These help stabilize the shoulder. So trying to fight down on this one, you'll think you're feeling your back. You're feeling just above your back. I think that one is a finishing touch for protecting the lower back and the shoulder. So you're talking, in my observation, like maybe 1 in 50 people I've trained. So maybe like 98% of people I've trained, when they start, can't do those 3 shoulder standers. Can I do them easily? Absolutely not. They push me for everything that I'm worth, but I'm trying to constantly become a better example of the ATG system. Look, for me, it's this simple. The fact I've been going on 10 years without a knee setback, that I get to go enjoy playing basketball with more bulletproof knees than the norm. I can do the knee standards in my sleep. That gives me so much joy in life. However, I should be a product of the full system. Having these shoulder standards down definitely increases my quality of life, but like to 1% of the importance of the fact that my knees are relatively bulletproof and athletic compared to the norm. So I think just seeing the whole ATG group that's forming out there and seeing people mastering these things, it's forcing me to up my game. I want to be a product of these standards. Right now I know that 10% of body weight, external rotation for 12, Powell raise for 10, Trap-3 for 8. The average person can get to these things. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it could be worthwhile for the rest of your life. If you want to do these, one of our original ATG members and his brother created our app over years so you can send in your form easier than any other fitness app. We coach it. We keep track of your standards for you. 20 standards for the whole body. Not perfect, but I think they can, I've observed for myself and others, they can create a different life compared to just normal training without measurable goals. Hope this helps. See ya.